All right, so this is my first time doing this. Took off this little console piece off the front of the bike. It's a simple takeoff, just 2 screws on the side like this. And then you turn the ignition switch this way. And then there's a cap, there's a little clip that goes under here and you clip it off. It easily breaks. I broke mine a long time ago. They're inexpensive to replace. What I wanna do is I wanna get to these rings here because I wanna get this part done orange. So I figured I'll just record it while I'm doing this. If I get stuck, I will go on YouTube and see if I can find a video that can help me out. But sometimes I don't like to just run to YouTube. I like to use my brain and see what I got. What can I do before going to the source, all right? Now, I'm not saying that you need to do that because you're watching my video right now. But what I'm saying is I like to get my brain to think like that. So this piece comes up, all right? And from what I'm seeing, it looks like, let me see something. That's it. So I'm gonna bring this to the powder coat, guys. So this piece, it just pops up. That's what it does. And there's a rubber piece inside here. We know that the rubber cannot get powder coated. And I'm not sure if this can get powder coated or not, but I will find out. All right, the next thing I gotta do now, I got that piece off. So while I'm doing this, I'll talk to you, right? So what I did, I made a phone call to a buddy of mine, and I wanted to find out if those parts are able to powder coat, but the answer to that question was no. It's not able to powder coat. So I'm gonna have to find a spray paint that will match the color enough, because it's gonna be a thin layer anyway. So being able to paint it will solve that issue. And you want to get the paint that's more like metallic paint, a metallic paint that will adhere to plastic, because that's plastic. That won't be able to chrome out, to powder coat out. So I'm taking off the windshield. If you never knew how to take off the windshield, now you know. Simple. There's a little a lever here. You just kind of pop this out. You know, I'm gonna use my hands to work my way out, because I've done it a few times, but you want to be careful. You don't want to break it, okay? There's little latches right here. And then you're gonna take a screw. There's one screw here. You don't want to touch the speaker screw. That screw, I believe, is a T25. There we go. Got that part out. Take my hands and just finish on loosening. And make sure you don't lose the pieces, okay? There are clamps that attaches to the back. So just take your time and do not, I repeat, do not hurry the process. That and this one, let me get an extension. You take off those 2 screws. And also forgot to tell you to take off the top piece on the top when I took off the windshield. But I'll get that in a second. There's also a screw to remove right here. When I first started doing the work, the threading got messed up in here, so this screw is already off. Once we get that cover off, you're gonna take this piece and take your time, and it's gonna lift off, okay? But just take your time. Let me see, make sure it's not attached on anything. All right, the same thing that we did on the other side, we do on this side as well. Got that off. Now, keep in mind, we have one more screw to take off, and then this thing will come off. So you have to be careful with that. And that's gonna be right here. All right, so the attachment for this is a 3/16, okay? 3/16 hex socket. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold this just in case it wants to come down on me. And this thing will now release this whole piece, all right? So be careful, don't let it fall. All right, so I'm gonna check to make sure that I have all the screws off that I need to take off. And this should come off. Here we go. Now, there are two things here that you have to remove, okay? You have to remove these two little wires. That comes off by pinching it on the top, and the same thing happens on this side. You pinch it, and then it releases the whole entire front. All right, so I have to take off this whole thing, and for what I'm seeing, just from a visual standpoint, I'm gonna have to take off this two side pieces. And normally this is like when you get the lights installed and all that, so I'm gonna take off these two side pieces, and then there are 2 bolts here that connects the whole light bezel piece, all right? So, like I said, remember, I'm just going off my brain right now, and if I get stuck, I promise you, I will be going for information on Google. All right, power tools are good sometimes, and sometimes using the power of your hands is better. There you go. So this isn't really tight. So we're gonna have to use some Loctite for this when we're done. So you're not gonna be able to see what I'm doing here because this is way in, right? So I'm using the Star Hex, this star socket. It's the same T25, even though it's a hexagon bolt. I went to the top and took off the 2 screws on the top above, and I'm not worried about taking the light off. I'm not gonna worry about that so far for this side. And I have an extension. I have the long extension attached to a short extension, and it's hand tightening. So I reach in, and I'm getting the bolt. I might have to get some light up in here to finish seeing what I'm doing completely. But I could feel this whole thing getting loose already. There we go. All right, so it's completely loose. I'm trying not to lose that screw. All right, got the screw out. So it's 3 screws. And then there is an attachment here, but I don't need the attachment because all I want to do is get the bezel piece off. All right, so what I'm doing now, I'm taking this piece. I don't need to take the whole thing out. Hopefully I don't have to, but if I do, let's see if we can get it through this opening or not. If I can't get it through the opening, then it's no biggie. All right, get my hands through here. All right, so what I figured out was just moving more of the stuff out the way. I didn't have to move those parts. So let me go back here. Let me go back in and connect the parts that I did already disconnected that I didn't have to disconnect. And I'll put those back into a spot. So that was connected there and that was connected there. So I just kind of played around, just took my time, played with the angle, and was able to move these little things out the way and not scrape the front at all and kind of wiggle it up. And then it comes right up, all right? So just so I could have this thing to work on, there's a little clip here. So it looked like I just clip it on each side and it will lift it up and start to remove it. Yep, that's pretty much what I have to do. But once again, they're cheap. They're not strong, so don't break it. I'm telling myself that. So I have one side out. This side I'm gonna take my time. I'm just using my nails. I don't wanna use a tool. There we go. Boom. Okay, so we got this side out. Now, we have to do the same thing on this side, and this side looks very different, all right? But let's get it done. Man, I put this off for such a long time. I'm finally happy. I made up my mind to just get it done today. I'm happy. So the extension is going through, and I'm gonna take my time like I did on the other side. Get that screw out. Once again, remember it's hand tightened because you don't want to break it. You don't need to use no machines. All right, this one got more stuff in the way than that side. I'll tell you that ahead of time. Yeah, so you have to get the extension, guys. If you don't have an extension, you are not getting this. And I'm gonna put this on, I'm gonna stick this magnet on here, and hopefully it will help to magnetize that screw. And the good news is I found the other screw. Here it is. All right, got both screws. Now, let's get the bezel off the top. All right, let's see what we could do about getting this piece out now. Well, let me go back and plug this out so I don't forget anything that I had to do, go backwards. Always cover your tracks. So what I did, just to give you the heads up, I'll do it again so you can see what I'm doing to unattach the wire that's attached inside, all right? So I did it, I snapped it back in. I just use a butter knife, and I use the flat part of the butter knife, push it underneath this piece like this. And you just pry it up. So you have that wire loose. At least you got that part out, all right? Now, let's get the other stuff. Yeah, this one is hard. It has a lot of these things that's stopping this from coming out. But I'm gonna get it out. There we go, got it out. All right, hopefully putting it back in will be just as hard. All right, so we got it out, last piece. Let's get that piece off. Don't forget what I did. I just snapped it a little bit. I used my nails to just pop it up a bit, and I work my way around each one. So here's what I got, right? So I got plastic paint. This is high temperature, okay? I got it from O'Reilly's Auto Parts. This orange matches my orange the best way it could possibly match it. It came close enough. Now what I have to do is scuff up these with some sandpaper. Just scuff it up as much as I can and get some adhesion, and then I'm gonna paint it the way I need to paint it. So just scuff it. You could use abrasive steel wool or anything like that. Laying that spray on. All right, just putting these pieces back in. So like I said, I couldn't find an orange that matched this thing completely, but because these bezels are smaller, it's not a big deal as me having the whole thing on the outside, on the bike, like the levers and all the other stuff. That stuff would have drove me nuts. This, I could handle, I could deal with. All right, so getting the screws on the inside, guys, that's the hard part. So what I have a magnet, and hopefully that the screw can stay in its place and giving me enough room to be able to push this in, hopefully. We'll see. All right, I think I got it in. Yep, that worked like a charm. Now I'm hoping that it's lined up properly. Should be. Yep, mission accomplished. And remember, you don't have to use any machines for that. You don't have to use a drill, none of that stuff. Because you will break it, you will crack it. Gotta move all the stuff out the way. All right, I think I got it. Feels like I got it. Yes, got it. That's a plus. Oh yeah. All right, now let's get the rest of this bad boy put back together. All right, this piece came from this back here. That snaps in. Remember, everything snaps in just one way. You can't get the snapping parts wrong. So this little piece goes back in front, and then we screw that back in. All right. So that should be a 1, 2, 3. And then I could go back and then take off. Put back in those bolts. All right, same treatment for this one. That thing with the little knob here goes back up to the top, slides back in the space. All right, simple, not hard. So I just took that off, put that back in the spot. Now we're back on track. No big deal. Whenever you guys are doing stuff like this, you're doing work like this is fresh. I don't gotta change that out. You don't have to, don't get mad about it. I hear me say that a lot in my DIYs, right? A lot, because it's easy to get mad. You're gonna get things that's gonna mess up on you. It's gonna do all kinds of stuff, but don't let it mess you up. The bike is starting to look like a bike again, right? All right, some little. Now the blue loctite, you can go get it from Ace Hardware, any O'Reilly's, AutoZone. You can get that stuff. I believe Home Depot and Lowe's sell it too. Okay, so now we're down to the last screw for the front, for the lights. But like I said, I am going to use my ratchet to finish off the tension on here and make sure that it's tightened down to my liking. There we go. All right, so we got that part done. It's a great opportunity to just take a cloth and just wipe down what you can, especially this top right here. It's hard to get to when you are cleaning this bike. So getting to it now, it's a good idea. It's like brand new. So just so you know, there's some snaps, and when you put this in, it's just gonna snap into place, and you're gonna get some play like this. You push it underneath that lock, and that's gonna give you that piece that's already in. All right, finally I'm done. And this is what it looks like. You guys get a chance to see what I did. I got all those parts looking real good. I've been wanting to do these for a minute, guys. Now let me know if you learned anything from this video, and if you're planning on doing yours next, whatever color you choose, green, blue, purple. Now we know how to do it. And don't forget to use really, really high heat-based paint. Don't just use regular paint, because that will chip a lot. And this is gonna cure overnight, and that's it. That's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, let me know your thoughts. I was able to take this thing apart. What's coming up next week, you're gonna get to see some more stuff put on here. I'm out.